Minute is rated R. The Rocky Horror Picture Show is also rated R. We're going to spend this time discussing the movie in gory detail, and along the road we will talk about some adult content and use some of our favorite swear words.
The light touches.
Consider yourselves warned. Welcome to Rocky Horror Minute, the podcast where we break down the Rocky Horror Picture Show in excruciating detail, 1 minute at a time. I'm one of your hosts, Leandra.
And I'm your other host, Kelly.
And today we have a very, very special minute, arguably one of the most minutes.
It is a minute long.
Yeah.
So,
what do we know about this minute?
So, the last thing that happened was Riff Raff had said, go. And nobody moved. And so now he starts this minute by, kind of insistently going, now. And kind of gesturing with his gun, really, what the fuck are you still doing here? It is time to leave or I kill you. So then they kind of jump, and then Janet is kind of the one to sort of push them out. She's like, guys, we gotta get moving. So Brad pushes Dr. Scott. They all scramble out of there. And as they do, Magenta starts to grin. And we then cut to a shot. It's a shot in the pool looking up at Frank, floating face down. Very beautiful shot. And we hear Magenta cackling. Ha 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 ha. And we head back to Riff and Magenta. He says, our noble mission is almost completed, my most beautiful sister. He starts stroking her face while he says that. And then he adds, and soon we shall return to the moon-drenched shores of our beloved planet. And she gets so excited. She goes, oh, sweet transsexual land of night. And then she turns and she starts walking very slowly in the other direction. As she delivers this line, she's looking straight up and her fists are stacked weirdly. It's almost like what you would do if you were holding a baseball bat. She's got one fist on top of the other, in front of her as she walks. She adds, to sing and dance once more to your dark refrain. Riff is following her. He's also doing something kind of weird with his hands. It's almost like he's holding the gun, but both his hands are up in front of him, almost in a squirrel pose. I don't really get it. Then she turns to smile at Riff. She stops walking and she says, to take that step to the right, and then goes, ha! And she takes the step to the right from the time warp that we saw earlier. And we get, at that moment, our first flashback in this scene. It flashes back to the Transylvanians in time warp. The three that we see in this moment are, from left to right, Annabelle Leventon, Pamela Overmeyer, and Imogen Clare, doing the time warp, doing the step to the right moment. It's just a flash at this time. And that's the end of the minute.
Now, you said first flashback. There's not any more of these, right?
Well, you'll just have to tune in to minute 95 to find out. In fact, you'll just have to watch it and then summarize it for me.
No, I don't want to.
Well, yeah, but that is a really interesting, to me, device that they use, and I don't know how you feel about these, Leandra. I love it.
I love it from a shadow casting perspective, but from a movie creation perspective, I'm not sure how I feel about it.
Oh, I love it.
What do you love about it?
Well, because I think it's flashing back to that moment to be to tie it back, because I don't think when we were watching Time Warp, we're sort of in the position of Brad and Janet. They're classic protagonists in that way, and that, like us, they know nothing going in. And so at that time, we're just sort of overwhelmed, and we're crazy shit is happening. Assuming it's the first time you're watching the film, right? But now it's showing you yeah, remember the Time Warp? Turns out that had more significance than just a bunch of kooky foreigners doing a dance, you know?
That's fair.
Because I think the implication at this point in the film is that the time warp is more than just a dance, I think.
It is the official dance of Transylvania. So yeah.
But I think it's somehow, I don't know. I think the time warp might have significance outside of being a dance. However, regardless, the movie's reminding us, yeah, they were all doing the time warp. All those bitches you saw earlier were aliens. That's why they were dressed like that. That's what the film would say, I assume.
I did really like seeing the Transylvanians again. It's been quite some time.
It has. Yeah.
Like, it's been several minutes, of course, but also for us, that was an entire lifetime ago, it seems.
It was. Yeah, it was many years ago that we talked about that. Not many, but it was years ago. Anyway, I also noticed, in addition to the Transylvanians, in this flashback, you can really see the eyes glowing on that griffin.
Oh, yeah.
It's such a weird set piece.
I love it, but it's also weird. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and it's supposed to be. I mean, I think Brian Thompson really achieved his vision of what would it look like if aliens tried to furnish this castle.
Yeah, and really, I know that every single opportunity we have to talk about Brian Thompson's set design being the best, this is indicative of that, though.
Yes, absolutely. Richard O'Brien, and by the way, Richard O'Brien and Patricia Quinn both think the flashbacks are excellent as well. They talked about that on the commentary, but he added, and this of course, Leandra and I are both very familiar, but if you didn't know, audience, there are many endings to the Rocky Horror Picture Show that have been in use by theaters or what have you. Spoiler alert, one of the scenes that is coming up that we're going to cover very, very soon is not in many releases, but also apparently the flashbacks are not in some versions of the ending. So he brought that up.
That is definitely news to me, at the very least by the time it got into distribution, like at the VHS level.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they definitely locked that in.
Yeah, no. He's talking about versions he's seen screened at theaters. Yeah, like,
okay.
He's like, because he said, like, there were many different versions going around with different endings, and not all of them have these, so I thought that was interesting, and it's a good time for us to talk about, to prepare you guys for the fact that the ending that most Americans are familiar with for this movie does not include things that are going to start happening next minute, so little teaser for you.
Nice.
Yeah, I thought so.
So, a couple of things. I can't open my eyes underwater. That shot of Tim Curry just being full-on dead underwater, that seems like it would be the most torturous scene for me to shoot. That sounds awful.
Oh, I opened my eyes underwater. More when I was a kid, like I wouldn't do it. Well, I mean, I don't love to swim in a pool anymore. But yeah, like as a kid, I always had my eyes open underwater.
Yeah, I guess since I don't swim, or at least I didn't swim as a kid, I never did that when I wasn't afraid of everything. And now I'm just, the thought of having chlorine in my eyes sounds miserable.
It's not ideal. It's not. I knew kids who would do it at the beach, and I never did it at the beach. I thought that was crazy.
Yeah, that sounds gritty.
Not just that, but not worth it, because, like, it's still very murky. It's not like you can really see through it.
Yeah. I'm happy Tim Curry didn't give a fuck, though.
Yes.
Because it is a beautiful shot.
It's really great. It's such a final moment for Frank, you know? There can be no doubt.
That's a wrap on Frank.
Yeah. I'll just say this, we didn't see Eddie. I think it's entirely possible that he scrabbled out of that pool like 3 seconds after.
Do you mean Rocky?
Well, aren't they really the same thing at the end of the day?
Yes, that is true. I suppose.
Yeah, so I meant to say that.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
That's normal of you.
But, right, yeah, Rocky. When he hits the pool, he may, as soon as the camera pans away, I imagine him just being like, "Whoa," and scrambling away.
I think it would be funny if he was like, I only learned to doggy paddle.
He has little floaties on his arms.
Me. So, Riff's makeup, I don't know how I didn't notice this before, but it's looking absolutely rough. Yeah, like it's completely off of the scalp and it's really starting to melt off of him. So I don't know that it's hot in there. Like I think quite the opposite, but it is definitely probably humid.
It's almost always hot under those lights though.
That's fair.
Yeah, from what I've heard from people who've been on movie sets, so probably just the way he was lit. And he wasn't in the pool.
No.
That we know of. I hope that someday behind-the-scenes shots surface of Riff and Magenta in the pool.
Aw.
Putting it out there into the universe.
We can make those, but you plan.
Yeah. We could, yeah. Put it in the calendar.
Yeah. So, face touching.
Yeah.
I have a sibling. I would not caress her face in that way. Not a thing that siblings do.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's an incest moment for sure.
Yeah.
Richard O'Brien even says something on the commentary about, like, because Patricia Quinn was saying earlier she had no idea it was incest, and he even says something like, clearly, if you didn't know it was incest before, you had to have known in this moment. He says something like that.
That's fair.
Yeah. Yeah, Magenta is just sort of dissociating fully until they actually leave. But then she gets so enraptured with glee. Richard O'Brien on the commentary called it, he said something about it being camp acting, and she sort of sarcastically said, "What? There's nothing camp about me." But I really, really like how she finally, Magenta seems to let loose and just be so excited and having the best time.
Oh yeah, this is really her moment to shine in a way that she really didn't even hit during Time Warp. Like, by this point, she is just in her element.
Yeah, I would agree. That any time that she felt like she was getting close to this in the movie is when we saw her excitement come out, and now it's like, it's finally here, basically. Although, I have to ask, what is Riff's mission? He refers to it as a noble mission that is almost completed, but he can't just mean, like, killing Frank, because that wasn't even really a mission, and like, also, it's not, that is complete. It's not almost complete. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, check that one off the list.
Yeah, so I'm not really what do you think he meant by our noble mission that is almost completed?
I think that it was supposed to be a reconnaissance mission, like...
Well, but that was a failure.
Getting details?
Well,
like,
Frank's mission was a failure, so it's not a continuation of Frank's mission.
Sure. I guess the question then becomes, what was Frank's mission? Was it reconnaissance? Or what?
And we discussed that a little bit when that came up. But that can't be what Riff's referring to, because he said that was a failure, and now he's saying the mission's almost completed. So did they have a separate mission all along?
Maybe their mission was to develop a household full of, like, human tchotchkes and then bring it back to the planet of transsexual in the galaxy of Transylvania.
That mission is almost completed. They have really almost filled that castle with weird shit. So
they really did have just the most wonderful time, I guess, antiquing.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I guess Brian Thompson must have had a great time sourcing a lot of this random crap. That'd be a fun job.
Yeah. So I have another Magenta blocking tip, and it also kind of doubles as a riffraff blocking tip.
Okay.
So, on Sweet Transsexual Land of Night, to sing and dance once more to your dark refrain, Riff and Magenta are slowly walking towards center stage at that point, and they're using the same foot. They're slightly off tempo with each other, but if you, as Magenta at the very least, go land of right to left and right, once left to your right and stop. So starting on your right foot and then kind of using the words to make sure that you're at least somewhat hitting the right timing. Riff Raff just needs to go like a quarter of a second off of that.
Yeah.
And those are all my notes.
All right. Well, then we can move on to callbacks. So when Riff says go now, there's a couple things you could say. You could say, my favorite is, does this mean we can't use your phone? Very funny. Another one is, does this mean we get to keep the costumes? I think I've heard others. Do you know any others, Leandra?
Those are the main ones. There are some people that go, oh, the phone, it's in the kitchen. Or something like that.
Yeah, so yeah, same type of deal. So I think that's funny. When he's floating underwater, it resembles a very famous album cover. So you can say, oh, I just had a great idea for an album cover, but never mind. 90s kids get it. Actually, really, 90s kids wouldn't be particularly likely to get it, I guess, because they would have been really young when that came out. But I'm a 90s kid and I get it, so who knows. Anyway.
Yeah.
The version of this callback I'm going to say is, waiter, there's a transvestite in my soup, and then don't say that or everyone's gonna want one. Classic old joke to reference.
Yeah.
My favorite in this minute is when he says, "My most beautiful sister." You can talk over him and say, "My most incestuous chia pet." Hilarious. She looks just like a chia pet in that minute.
She really does.
And she looks super incestuous, so there you go. I think I accidentally said this one earlier, but I think this is where you say, when he says, "We shall return to the moon-drenched shores of our beloved planet," that this is where you would say, she says sweet. Am I fucking this up again?
Yeah, but...
The bananas on your head's one.
Yeah.
Why am I struggling? When does this moment happen? Or callback?
Okay.
When do you say it?
So...
When?
And soon we shall return to the moon-drenched shores of our barren, desolate, beloved planet. And then you go into the sweet transsexual land of night and high electric bills, or you can go into the specific timing for the banana one is the beloved planet where men grow bananas out their head and women come out their ears. Something like that. It's not one that I say, but that's the timing.
I don't say it either. I think it's lame, but I do hear it a lot. So
it's there.
Clearly I don't say it because I have no idea when it's said, but now you do, and maybe I'll refer back to this minute for timing.
Yeah.
Because Magenta's looking up at the ceiling, you can say, "Magenta, your lines are on the ceiling," or something like that. And then here's a weird one that I've never fully understood why they did this, but when she says, "Sing and dance once more to your dark refrain," people sing "Dark refrain, darling, dark refrain," but that's that old Danke Schoen song.
Yeah.
And instead it would be "Danke Schoen, darling, but so I don't understand the connection.
So there are a couple of reasons that I think that saying "dark refrain, darling, dark refrain" is a thing that people did. You are right that it's a nod to the song Dankeschön by not originally Wayne Newton, but it was made popular by Wayne Newton in 1963. But more importantly, it was used in the film Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
That's where I know it from.
Yeah.
But that came... Oh, right.
That came after by quite some time.
I was like, that came before this movie, so how could the callback be referencing it? And then I was like, wait.
Kelly, did you drink some dumb bitch juice?
No, unfortunately, I guess I'm just always sipping the dumb bitch juice. I'm fully sober, unfortunately. This is just how I am.
Aw. Well, I have plenty of dumb bitch juice here, so I'm sure that I'll drink some before the next minute. But I think that what happened was that was such a popular movie, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, that they heard Dark Refrain and it sounds similar enough to Dankeschön that people were like, it's kind of, it's like that. So it's people being clever, in their opinion.
What this brings to mind for me is when you see, stuff about, how children used to entertain themselves in colonial times, and it's a stick and hoop or little dolls made out of mud, and I'm just I'm so fucking glad that I grew up with TV. This looks bleak. That's how I feel. Back then they just didn't have all the callbacks we have today. They had to be resourceful.
God, that's so funny and so true.
I know.
Jesus Christ. Do you have anything else?
Just one.
Okay.
And we sort of referenced it already, but right before we lead into the flashback, almost always I hear something along the lines of, you know what this movie really... Or, this was a great movie, and I'm really glad it didn't have any acid flashbacks. Or, you know what this movie really needs? Some acid flashbacks. And then that happens.
Yeah.
Do I think every flashback is an acid flashback? No. And so I'm like, that's not what an acid flashback is, though. But anyway, possibly being a little too pedantic. Possibly.
Perhaps. Maybe.
It's not possible. But I'm just Tim, you know why it bothers me? I'm like, whoever came up with that callback has never done acid.
Yeah, they're a virgin who can't drive.
Oh, so true. That's all I have.
Okay, so I have a couple more. When Brad, Janet, and Dr. Scott exit, Riff has this smile, and it's a smile that conveys, I like them. They're getting a Christmas card.
Yeah, it's better than the smile that he so often wears in the movie, which conveys, I just pooped myself.
Yeah, this one is one that is of enjoying the people around him.
Yeah.
So next up, the album cover callback, I think is the best one, particularly if you get the timing on it and stick the
It
landing
always
on.
gets a huge laugh. Leandra
Yeah.
always does it, and people love it.
It's disappointing when people say it too early and then they go, never mind. What the fuck does that? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing that to help you with the timing, don't panic and start saying it too early. That shot of Frank is pretty long.
Yeah, I say it right as Magenta starts to laugh.
Yeah.
So that by the time you say never mind, you get that nice close up of Frank.
Yeah, and by the time Magenta starts laughing, like, you're already looking at Frank in the pool. So
Yeah.
basically what I'm saying is don't start the callback before you see Frank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's definitely the best of your options, but you could get like a Natalie Wood or other celebrity who died by drowning in there.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I've heard it.
I've done it with 2 different celebrities who died in bathtubs in recent years, like right after they died. Like I just hit a little like, rest in peace, Aaron Carter, or whatever. Bothers people for some reason. And I'm not saying that's wrong, but it confuses me a little bit because I'm like, well, I don't understand why the toast at dinner is okay, but not this. Anyway, but as with all the celebrity death callbacks, except in very specific instances, I'm saying it with reverence and respect. Both the 2 people who died recently in bathtubs that I've done the callback about, Aaron Carter and Matthew Perry, were actually great performers who, hit on some hard times, and I feel a lot of sympathy for them. So I'm not saying it in a hateful way, at least I'm not.
Yeah, and I think that it serves the purpose of kind of bringing them into your life in a sort of memorial sort of way.
Yeah.
I think that both Aaron Carter and Matthew Perry had fine sense of humor.
Yeah.
So.
And just because I don't miss an opportunity to bring this up, Leandra taught Aaron Carter the time warp on TV.
That is true. There is a video of it. You'll just have to find it.
Mm-hmm. I posted it once, but we don't use that platform anymore. So.
Oh, that is true. We should probably rip it to some other format.
Yeah, I don't know how to rip off of that particular platform, but I'm sure somebody could.
Yeah. Listeners, if you know how to rip off of OnlyFans,
Oh man, Aaron Carter really, really burns through his money.
No, it wasn't OnlyFans. It was Twitter, now known as X.
Maybe to you. Still known as Twitter to me.
Yeah.
Get fucked.
Yeah.
But anyway.
But please teach us how to rip videos off of that.
Yes.
Yes. So I don't remember if you said that's not the beautiful sister, that's the one who gives good head.
I did not, but classic.
A similar one is, if that's the beautiful one, I'd hate to see the ugly one.
Mm-hmm.
When Magenta's holding her hands in kind of that holding a baseball bat sort of pose, you can go swing, bada, 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 bada.
Oh, so it's not just I who thought it looked like a baseball bat.
No, it's a baseball bat sort of thing.
All right.
Or you can say, show me how you held Riff's dick last night. That's right, 2 hands.
I don't think you would need 2 hands.
Or you can go 2 tiny little fingers held together if some jabroni in the audience says, how'd you hold my dick last night?
We didn't address this real quick. Why do you think she's doing that with her fists?
I think that it's some sort of, like, classical acting, like, I'm putting my hands together in a, like, almost evocative of a prayer, but not quite sort of thing.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
I'm not saying that it was the right choice, but it was the choice that was made.
I mean, it's better...
It's a good choice.
It's better to make any choice about what to do with your hands when you're doing a soliloquy or anything like that. Any choice is better than just kind of having them doing their own thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've said it before, I'll say it again. If you want to destroy an actor's confidence, remind them that they have 2 hands. And they will, for the rest of time, go, I don't know what to do in this scene because I'm all of a sudden aware of the fact that at the end of these 2 swingy tubes of meat, I've got smaller 5 tubes of meat, and I don't know what to do with
You're
them.
describing the ideal man to me.
Yeah, you like tubes.
I do.
You like meat.
I do. Dicks are a series of tubes that were invented by Al Gore. Anyway.
Do you think Al Gore's, like, packing meat?
For some reason I thought you were going to be like, do you think Al Gore's listening to the podcast? Which I do, by the way.
Al Gore's definitely listening.
Honestly, I could see it. Like, him having a huge dick. He kind of has that energy to me.
He does. It's an inconvenient truth that he does, but...
I see. I see.
I'm so happy that I was able to get into that.
Yeah.
So, if you don't want to go through the acid flashbacks, you can do the, oh no, the movie's starting over again, and that's fun.
Oh, yeah.
And that's all I got.
That's all you got?
Yeah.
Oh. Well then, now, you don't have to go
No,
home, but
you don't
can't
have to
stay
go
here.
home, but you can't stay here, so... Get the
fuck
fuck out!
To the late night double feature picture show.
The background on this.
Yes, please tell me the background.
I was playing on an emulator. I was playing a very weird bootleg game that was released for Sega Genesis called The Lion King 3. And it's obviously Frankenstein together from different assets from other games, Lion King games, non-Lion King games. It was a really fascinating piece of work, and the sound is especially strange. Like, a bug will make a monkey sound and stuff. Like, they're just using random shit.
That's great.
Yeah, and when you pause the game, I kept being like, what is that? And I did some research, and when you pause the game, it plays this audio, and it was, and I was like, what the fuck is that? And I eventually found out it is audio of Mufasa saying everything the light touches, but then, like, slowed way down. And the game plays that every time you pause or unpause the game.
That seems good.
For no reason. It's so funny. So anyway, I've been really, that's been kind of living rent-free in my brain, so there you go.
Well, I'm happy that I was here for that, and so will our listeners.
Yeah. So, and ain't we all, viewers? It's a little sneak peek of things to come, dare I say.
If only this was all staying in.
What the fuck are you still doing here? It is time to leave or I kill you.